All right, so everybody make sure you press the little got it button, and then I'm gonna start clear back in the beginning. For those of you who don't know me, and even those of you on my team, most of you weren't with me when I first started. And so I joined in July of 2018. And when I joined, I woke up that morning with, like, I had been throwing around for a couple of weeks because I was babysitting for a girl who joined. And I was actually with another network company when I joined, actually. And I had been throwing around the idea of joining because I was a secret customer trying to grow out my hair, and I was using Estro Rhythm then. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it was like a hormone therapy, I guess, kind of. And like it helped me sleep at night. It helped me not be like an angry bear. Okay. And so that was my secret customer experience. Like I found me in that product, and then I started to grow my hair out. And so I told her she could not tell anybody I was using the products because I actually was a distributor for a competing company and I didn't want anybody to know. And I woke up that morning and I was like, well, I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't want to make a post for my other company. I don't want to do any of the things. And I said, you know what? It's time that I just throw in my resignation letter because I was spending more than I was paying just to even work the business, to keep the bonus that I earned, to do anything. And it wasn't worth it. My family resented it. I hated it. I wasn't in it. And I'm a firm believer that you have to be passionate about the thing that you're doing. If you aren't passionate about the thing that you're doing, then why are you even doing it? And that's where I was at. I didn't even want to get out of bed. And so I called the girl I was babysitting for and I said, okay, I'm in. I want to be a part of what you're doing because I watched this girl who was a super negative person. Like, if you didn't know her, you wouldn't approach her because she just looked mean. She was known for being the mean girl. And I watched her go from being the mean girl to posting positive quotes on her Facebook, getting her hair done, and being excited about life. And I wanted to be a part of that because the part of my story people didn't know is I just moved out of the trailer court, okay? And I was deemed trailer court queen, okay? I lived there for 12 years. I wasn't ever leaving. And I left the trailer court, you guys. I went and got my bachelor's degree. I bought a house with my husband and we got married. And I should have been the happiest person at that point, and I wasn't. I was struggling because what happens when you grow in life? You outgrow your friends. You outgrow your circle because they either level up with you or they try to bring you back down. In the circle that I was in, they surely weren't leveling up with me. Instead, they were bashing on me. They were jealous of me because I bought a car and I bought a house and I was doing things that they could never see themselves doing. So what did they do? They tried to take me out. And so I didn't have a circle. And I really wanted to be a part of Tamika and Chelsea and double dates and all of the fun things that they were doing. And I knew the only way that they would make time for me is if I joined their team. So I bought my friends. Like, that's the ongoing joke in my team is I paid to be their friends, okay? And so that plays in to my whole team culture because I joined for friends. If you're a part of my team, you know it's all about friendship and culture in my team because that's what I joined for. And that's what keeps my girls around is we created friendship. So when I first joined, I told my enroller, okay, I'm in. I'm your friend. You can hang out with me. Don't expect anything from me because I was a serial network marketer, you guys. I had done all the businesses and I had failed them all. I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars I had put in. And I said, I'm not doing that this time. I'm not doing it. And she said, will you trust me for 30 days? Okay, but I'm not spending any money outside of the products I use because I was in love with my products and that's all I was doing. And she said, okay. So she would give me a task and I would do it. And then I'd say, okay, what's next? Because I kind of like competitions, and she would throw out little competitions, like sign 4 customers in 24 hours. And I said, okay, how do I do that? She'd give me tasks and I'd do them. And I'd come back and I'd do the next task. I went Ruby in 21 days, you guys. Just because and you guys, and when I went Ruby was hard because that was before charts changed. To go Ruby, you had to have an executive underneath you. We had 5 distributors. And so Ruby was hard then. I did it in 21 days. And so I did it again the next month. She goes, "Okay, so you ready for another challenge?" I was like, "Yeah, that was easy." And you want to know why? Because I was excited. She's like, "Here's your challenge." And I'm a blue-yellow personality. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get on there and I'm going to have fun because that's what I do. And so I did it the next month and I went emerald in 56 days. And I took my husband, Ruby, with me. And together we each earned our $1,000 bonuses. And then I earned the $5,000 bonus. And I was super freaking loud about that because I was like, I said I wasn't going to spend any money and I didn't. And I made more and I'm not having to spend it. And so my husband wasn't on board when I joined this one. He's like, "I'm not going to tell you no, because you're going to do it anyway. But I'm going to tell you that it's just going to be another one of those companies," until it wasn't. And so if you've got an unsupportive spouse, what I'll tell you is put your actions where your mouth is and show him. You're right. I understand why you're not supportive, because how many times did I spend hundreds of dollars and take so many moments away from our family? But yet this one, I was able to turn around and say, "Okay, I have more time with you guys and I'm making money." I didn't have to spend money out of this one. I didn't actually run an auto shipment till I could pay for it out of my check because I said I wasn't going to spend any money. And so that's where I started my journey. And so if I, like, as a newbie, because I know there's a lot of newbies on here, if your enroller gives you a task, come back and say, "What's next?" That is my biggest tip to you, because we don't know you've completed it. We're not mind readers. And if you're on my team, you know, like, I have a neurological disorder. I'm going to forget I gave you a task. Like, if we're going to be 100% honest, I'm not going to know who I gave a task to. And half the time I give it to you in my head and I forget to actually send it. And so if you don't come to me and say, "Okay, I did that, what's next?" I ain't going to send it to you. And it's your business at the end of the day, and you have to take control of it. And that's what I did. I knew that at the end of the day, if I wanted to make money, I had to ask her, "What do I do? How do I do this?" And so that's where I started at. And so after I hit that at 56 days, I said, "Okay, if I can do that in 56 days, what's next? What do I do next? And where can I go?" And I always had an end goal before I hit my next goal. Like, don't think that you get to emerald, you hit your goal, and you're just going to sit there, because you're not going to sit there. You're going to go backwards. You have to have your next goal in front of you. And so, like, our team is super, super big on goals and setting your goals before you reach your next one. We always know what our next goal is. And if you ever catch us when we don't, it's because we're going backwards. And someone should probably grab us by the hair and tell us to set a goal. Okay. And so that was like the beginning of my story. And what I didn't know then is that God placed me in this family because he knew I was going to need it. I just joined for friends. I didn't know I was really going to need a family. And so Heather told me I get to show up authentically as myself. And I'm going to tell you guys, thank you for being patient as I share my story. 1, I'm squirrely, and 2, you probably need a Kleenex box. Okay. So my daughter has struggled since 2017 with a Chiari-1 malformation. We knew at some point she would need surgery. We just didn't know when. And in October, right after I joined, I went diamond. Well, yeah, I had just went diamond. And she started to have some issues walking. She had some issues going to school with some headaches. And so we started seeing neurosurgery. And we found out she's going to need decompression surgery. So one thing I will tell you before that happened, so I built my team to diamond to watch it fall apart. So like we have had 2 different teams. So before, like we were going through all of this with my kiddo, I built my team to diamond and it fell apart. And then I had to have shoulder surgery. I got rear-ended right after I went diamond, and I took the why me stance of being rear-ended. So anybody ever have something happen to them and they're like, why me? Okay, that's where I was in my mindset when I went diamond the first time, okay? You will never hear me say, why me now? And my team sometimes wants to slap me for this because I am very solution based, and I will look at the other side of it is, what do you get to learn from this? Where do you get to grow from this? And sometimes they really don't like me when they come to me with a problem, because I will sit them down and tell them, hey, like, it's a crappy situation and I'm not going to tell you it's not, but where do you get to level up in it? It happened for a reason. But that wasn't me then. When I got into that car accident, I had just hit diamond. Things were going so great. And I said, why does this always happen to me? And I got really bitter, and I wasn't a very nice person to deal with. I actually bulldozed my whole team and I lost all of them. I went all the way back down to distributor, and it took me 4 months of being in my own feelings and fighting through the recovery, because my shoulder froze after having rotator cuff surgery and having to have a second surgery for me to pull myself out of that. And I actually had a leader who had a really crappy mindset. I said, I'm going to write a mindset call for you because you need to change your mindset. She never showed up to that mindset call. But what that mindset call did for me, that I still run every single morning, whether somebody gets on or not, is it shifted my mindset, because who needed that was me. And I can't shift anybody's mindset if I don't take control of my own. And so God told me, run that mindset call. What he was really saying is, girlfriend, you got a crappy mindset and you need to shift that. So while I say I started it for a diamond leader, really I started it for myself. And it's changed hands. I've let some leaders run it over the course of the 2 years, but it has made its way back this year to me. And I'm going to go ahead and say the reason why is God knew I was going to need it this year. And that if I wasn't leading it, I probably wouldn't show up to it. And so one thing that if I would have known then what I know now is set your calls up, whether or not somebody is going to show up or not. Because at the end of the day, I love you all, but I run power hours and mindset calls for myself. Because whether you get on or not, I will still be doing the work. And that was the best advice I was ever given, is don't plan to get on somebody's call because they want you to. Plan to get on a call because you need it. And whether or not they show up or somebody else shows up, you will still be doing the work. You plan your calls and your days around what you need, not anybody else. Because whose business is this? Is it Erica's? Is it Stephanie's? Is it Gina's? It is yours at the end of the day. And you will set yourself up for disappointment if you plan it around anybody else's schedule. And then you will create resentment around your business, and it will not be fun. And I'm sorry, but if I ain't having fun, I ain't doing it. And I like to have fun. So I set my day up to be fun. And so I rebuilt my business from distributor in December to double in May, because I started a mindset call in the morning, and I decided there was no other option. Because when you have shoulder surgery and your full-time income as a childcare provider, and you can't even wash your own hair or pull up your own pants, guess what happens? Your income goes out the window. But guess what I could do? I could work my business sitting on the couch. Now, some of my messages may not have made sense because I did have surgery, but I could work from home. I could work from physical therapy. I could share how taking collagen helped me heal faster than the doctor ever said I would, because they told me it'd be 2 years before I could use my arm again. Well, my 2-year work mark was last week, and I've been using it for over a year. I graduated physical therapy 4 months out before COVID hit. Thank goodness, because I couldn't imagine trying to do physical therapy in lockdown. And so that was the beginning of all of the reasons why I needed my family. And I thought that was the end of my like the end of my story. Like, to be honest, I was like, oh, this is my huge thing that's going to happen. Because, you hear everybody talk about the one thing that comes and wrecks their business. Well, that wasn't. My daughter in January of last year had her decompression surgery. And to watch my little girl go back into that surgery room and not know if she would come out was one of the hardest things. But do you know what I sat and did in the waiting room? I worked my business because I was sitting there. I signed a customer and a distributor while she was in surgery. I signed one that night after recovery. She's on this call, actually. And I had the biggest month that I have ever had working from her hospital room. And then I led my first retreat in April, which was phenomenal because I sat so long. You're the one who I signed during her surgery, Stephanie. I sat so long trying to be in somebody else's shadow. I tried to show up as a leader as my upline instead of being who I was and attracting myself authentically. Just so you guys know, I can't read the chat because I won't be able to keep talking. So if you're in the chat talking to me, I can't. I tried for so long to show up as somebody else that when I started showing up authentically as who I was, I started attracting my tribe. I started attracting my team, the ones who are going to love you through it all, the ones who are going to show up when you need them, and the ones who are going to work like you work. And that's when I learned while I was in the hospital that you can't sign a distributor if you aren't doing those things. So if you want a distributor who's going to show up when their kid's in surgery, you got to be that one. You want to sign a distributor who's going to show up when they're sick, guess what? You have to show up when you're sick. If you want a distributor who's going to sign their own customers and sign their own distributors, you have to be that first. So we have a thing where we write all of the things we want our distributors to be. Like we journal about our perfect distributor. All right, cool, sis. Are you doing those things? And if you're not, you can't expect those people to come into your space. And the thing is you're going to sign a distributor 2 levels below where you are. And so if you don't like the level of distributors that you're signing, then it's time to level up your game. You can tell every time that I sign distributors where I was in my personal life, where I was in my professional life, because your personal life will affect your business. When my house was in shambles, when my boys came back to live with me and left, my business was in shambles, whether I tried to act like it was or not. Because in the midst of my daughter having surgery, my boys exited and entered my life all in the same time. So I have 4 children. My 2 boys from my oldest, my first marriage, I ended up signing guardianship over to their aunt because they lived with their dad for 2 years and they developed some very unhealthy habits that I couldn't control here at home. And I had to focus on taking care of my daughter. And so I made one of the hardest choices as a mom to give custody over to their aunt. And my team rallied as we did that because making that choice was so hard. Like if there's moms on here, you know that admitting that you can't take care of one of your children, no mom ever wants to make that choice. And so after surgery, we went to retreat and it was the best retreat ever until we got a phone call that my niece was terminal. She'd been placed into hospice. And you guys, here's the thing. Because of some past relationships, my daughter hadn't seen her in over 4 years. We hadn't been able to have any contact with that family for 4 years. And so I had to be the bigger person and reconnect that relationship so that my daughter could go see her best friend. And we're lucky that mom was able to let us come be a part of that because it's dad's side that didn't want us to have anything to do with it. And so I had to reach out to mom. And I gained a friend out of it. And my daughter sat next to her bed every day. She got up. She didn't go to school because she was recovering from her surgery still. And we got up every single day. She would go to Walmart, pick out little toys, and she would play with her. She didn't go over there and feel sorry for her. She didn't go over there and treat her any differently. It was just like when they were kids. She would go over and she would play with her every single day. And so I got to work in business every morning before we went, and I got to put my phone away with the exception of to take pictures every single day. And then I got to work every single night and still make an income while we spent almost a whole month with my niece until she passed away on Mother's Day. And those are memories we will never get back. But I got to have all that time with her. We have videos of her laughing. And those are memories my daughter would have never got if I had a 9-to-5 job. No job would have given me 3 months off. They would have told me to figure it out. No job would give you that time. And I had my biggest month in February. And I signed 14 distributors in May. And you want to know why I signed 14 distributors in May? Because I shared my life. I shared everything we were going through. And I also shared how I was still making an income and finding the positive side of it. Because here's the thing, you guys, I show up and I share the sucky side of life with a positive spin on it. Because it's one thing to go to social media and say, I hate my job, I hate my life, I hate all the things, and all this is going wrong. It is a completely other thing to go to Facebook and say, here's what's going on, but here's how I'm going to fix it. Or does anybody have any help? Because if anybody went to my social media today, they've seen a post that I made today. Because I had to message one of my friends who happens to be one of my leaders and say, I just don't think I can do this anymore. And so I made a post about how sometimes your past creeps up on you, but sometimes you just need a smack in the face and somebody to tell you what you always tell everybody else. You just have to start sharing you authentically, because every single one of you have a story. Every single person has something that they can offer somebody else. And that wasn't the end of my no excuses story. My team decided that they were going to come kidnap me. Don't say that word on Facebook, by the way. You get put in jail. That they were going to come kidnap me for my birthday because of everything that me and my kids had gone through. That week we put my dog down, and she was my best friend. Like, we've had that dog. It was the first animal that I've been able to have a relationship with, because my ex-husband, anytime we got an animal, they disappeared. And so this is the first one. It was mine and my husband's kid, because we don't have kids. I have 4. We had a dog. And then we went to Lava Hot Springs, and on the way home from the retreat, I got the phone call that my grandma died. And you guys, this is not the first relative this year. We're on number 11. But here's the thing about my grandma dying. It was the last connection I had to my dad's side of the family. My dad is in federal prison for being on number 8 felony for drug trafficking. I put my dad in prison when I was 15. And my grandma and grandpa, I haven't seen since then. My grandpa died in March when COVID hit, and I watched his funeral on TV. And I was going to take my kids out to see my grandma. I never got to. But my grandma and grandpa didn't want to have much to do with me, because I won't take my kids to see my dad. And so everything died with them. That connection to my childhood that I had with them, it all died with her. And so that was really hard for me, because there's that past that I never got to work through. And I was still hoping that one day I could. Luckily, I was with all of my team when I got the phone call. And we still worked through it. you will never see me stop. When Cammie called me, I got to do a one-on-one call with Cammie, and she goes, girlfriend, I don't think you have the word quit in you. And I don't. Like, I honestly don't. I don't think I would know. I will probably work until the day that I die. And I've been that way since I was little. Yeah, quit is not in my vocabulary. But one thing I'll tell you, there's a reason behind it, because I wasn't always this way. If I look back at all of my other businesses, I didn't have organization. I didn't have a schedule. I didn't have a reason, and I didn't have a why. And so I just kind of did what I wanted when I wanted, and that doesn't work. And so something that I have adapted in this business is organization, is systems. I do the same thing every morning when I get up. I run a morning mindset every single morning. Every single morning, Saturday, Sunday included. I run a power 30 every single day. I have a workbook that I make for my team that we track in every single day. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. It's like going on a road trip with no GPS. And I'm sorry, I use GPS in my own town or I might get lost. And I live in a really little town, you guys. It's funny. My kids make fun of me. You've lived here your whole life and you don't know where that is? No. Tasha's looking at me funny because she lives here and she's probably going, I don't even use GPS. But like, you have to have something. And so I have a board behind on my wall, and it tells me the 7 things I do every single day. And so like, if you don't have direction, you need to get some. Like, that should be your very first step, is what do you do every single day, no matter what? It doesn't matter how sick I am. I have 4 things I will do every single day. And one of those is personal development. Because if you're not growing, and let me tell you, when I joined this business, I was like, personal development is for the birds. Okay, I have a psych major, you guys. Okay, I have a bachelor's in applied behavioral science. And they're like, you need to read a book. I was like, no, I don't. I don't need to read a book. I don't need to listen to no Audible. I got this all figured out. Let me just tell you how many books I listen to and how many books I read. I've got books back there on that shelf. I've got books down there, and my team knows that we got an Audible collection that is phenomenal. Like, books, podcasts. I don't care what your personal development looks like. Sometimes mine looks like a hot bath and locking my kids out of the room, giving them their tablets, and listening to a podcast. Sometimes it's music, but you have got to have something, like something that builds you. And for a long time, mine was just podcasts, or it was YouTube videos. There's not very many of those anymore, though. Like, I used to watch other leaders on YouTube. Like, find something that builds you, and not just in a professional way. You have to get your life under control too, because the second that your life is in shambles, even if you're putting on this pretty picture that it's not, it'll show in your business. Your business will be in shambles too. Every time that we've hit a rocky road in my family, my business suffers too. And so if your business is suffering, you need to look at one of 2 things. Is it professional, or is it personal development that you need to fix? So that's kind of what I have for you in a nutshell. And it was probably really squirrely because that's how I roll. But anybody is welcome to ask questions or just whatever you want.
Oh my gosh, Mandi, like, I've heard your story before, but every time you tell it, I feel like there's something that I missed the last time. And I feel like when I had hosted a Zoom for you, I feel like we're really similar, because this business has taught me as well how to, I put it in the chat, but I use this business and have always as a positive distraction for when life does happen. And when I have people that the first thing they do is put this business on the back burner, I don't get it. Like, I really don't get it. Like you said, I have sympathy for what you're going through. I feel bad for you, but how is putting this business on the back burner going to make that situation better for you? And and the same thing, like, if you're going through something trauma wise, that person that you're passed away or the surgery, those people would not want you giving up on your dream, you know? And I think about that as well. Like, just, I don't know. I just, that I feel like we vibe so well because that's how I think. And I hope tonight everyone hears that. It's not about being weak. It's not about, you know, we could say the word no excuses, but it's deep down inside. If you truly have a passion, like you had said, for what we're doing, and I'm obsessed with my business in the most
Mhm.
positive way. And like I said, when life happens, I sometimes go harder because this is that distraction. You know what I mean? Like when you said you were in the waiting room, waiting, and in the recovery room, and you were signing up all these customers and distributors. It's so crazy how people don't understand how you could do that when what else can you do? Sit there and just stress and just worry, which is not good for you either, or you can change lives because you
Right,
still at this point did not even just make it about you. You were still helping other people. And I think that's
right,
another thing that we forget about is that this business literally is about helping other people. And the more people you help, the more you help yourself, right?
right. And that's the whole slogan we use in our team. Like, if you help enough people get to where they want to go, eventually you will get to where you want to go. And
Yeah.
like, that is one thing with me. It's not necessarily about the sale. It's not about the customer. Like, I build relationships with my customer. Like, got a 200 BV order for a platinum customer. So like, that's hard because
Yeah, it
they
is.
get some good deals. And it's because she's a realtor here. And every time she sells a house, I tell her, good job. Like, I really build those connections with my customers. And so it really is about friendship. And so if you can really build relationships with your distributors and your customers, it may take longer, but it will be stronger.
Exactly. I love that. Mandi, where, I don't think you had shared this in the very beginning. Where are you from and what rank are you with It Works?
So I am from Rock Springs, Wyoming, and I am a double diamond.
Double diamond. And so, and you started in 2018, you had said.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. And you guys hear
So, but
that? Like,
here's the thing, you guys,
yeah,
I haven't promoted since May of 2020. I went double in May of 2020.
I got one better. I haven't promoted from triple diamond since 2015, girl.
We're going for triple this. We're doing a 90-day push starting next month, and we're going for triple.
I love it. You know, and did you guys hear that? She hasn't promoted since 2020. I haven't promoted since 2015. OMG. And we're still here. We're still
Mhm.
here. We would not still be here if it was just about the money or just about if we were putting this business on the back burner. If we weren't passionate about this business, we would not still be here. Right.
No.
So I hope you guys all find your passion in this business. And I know I want to shout out Enai, one of my newer distributors who's on here tonight. And she's same reason you joined, Mandi. She literally was like, I joined because I wanted a community. And now it's so much more. And if you join, it doesn't matter why I joined only you guys because I wanted wraps and greens. That's it. That's all. I did not join for a community. I did not join for the extra money. I joined for the product. And I learned, I caught on to the vision. So I'm hoping that all of you that are on here tonight, if you have been wishy-washy, if you've been, you know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, if you are feeling like, oh, I just don't know, we'll see what happens, you know, with this business. I'm hoping tonight after the Zoom, you guys all become lifers. And it doesn't matter if it takes you 6 months to promote or 6 years, you'll still be here, you know. So I do want to open, I know somebody's got a question. I want to know, you know, if somebody wants to unmute and ask you, or you can put it in the chat, you know, some of you guys are probably wondering, like, I know she explained where her drive came from, but I know there's a lot of you that are like, well, how does she still do it? Like, how does she do it? Jessica Ruiz asked, what's in your workbook?
Okay. So I will share. I gotta figure out where I said it. The one we're getting ready to put together. So some of you on my team haven't seen this one yet, but we are getting ready to do a 90-day push. So the front of it looks like this, and this is how we went double. So it has our thermometer, has our non-negotiable, and our chart. And I've got one for emerald, ruby, and diamond. And then we have Fast Start. So it's got all of our trackers for customers and distributors. So that is one thing I will tell you I did not do in the beginning. I did not track my customers. I did not track my distributors. So I could not take care of them. Now I track them all. Another thing I didn't do is I didn't track my potentials. Yes, you heard me say that. I did not even track them till after I went double. If I would have tracked my follow-up list, I would probably be triple. But I was like, no, I just keep it all in my messenger. It'll always be there and I'll know who told me what. Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. Okay. So if you're brand new, just start tracking it now. And if you didn't track it like me, just start doing it. I have a steps to success. So ours is just the 4-1-4-1 for every month. We have months, so we track our volume by the day. And then we have our monthly expenses for our business. So anything that you spend on the business, we track in there for taxes. The very beginning of the week, you plan out your week. So it's got Monday through Friday, your goals, your tasks, your to-do list. And Heather has a copy-ish of this.
Yes, I do. I'm actually going over it with you right now.
We have our non-negotiables. And then this is how I track my potential. So you hear people say all the time that they keep it in their planner. Okay, I run 2 other businesses. So what you guys didn't know in my story is in July of this year, we opened a salon. Me and my mom opened a salon, and I do holistic healing and ionic foot baths and everything, and life coaching. I got my life coaching certification this year out of the salon. And so my planner, and then I just became a family support partner for mental health here. So my planner is for work too. There's no way I could put follow-ups in my planner, and I don't want to carry 2. And so everybody kept saying, we put them in our planner, we put them in our planner, we put them in our planner. And I was like, okay, fine. So it's Monday through Friday. There's 25 lines. This one we put samples on, and in here we use 2 different colored pens. For me, purple is customers, pink is host to post, and then I went to writing I do too many, so I just put my host to post on the back page, because otherwise it would, I try for 25 a day. But that's not normal for everybody, and so don't feel like you have to do what I do. But I know that host to post is how I build my business when I only have 5 to 10 minutes a day. And so then you do customers, distributors on there in 2 different colors. And that's how I track my follow-ups. And my goal is 10 of each day. And so I put them on the line. And so you have 5 weeks of that in each month. And I have them in 3-month books. And then you have a chart on the back.
You know, it's so funny. You said you're yellow blue, but I hear a lot of green, girl.
So I also have autistic children. And so when you have an autistic child, you don't have any option but to become very organized. And I have a neurological disorder. So I have a seizure disorder. And if I don't write everything and track everything, it doesn't, I really run on sticky notes. If you could see my office right now, if I don't have it written down, it's not happening. You could tell me an hour ago. Some days I'll remember it and some days I won't. And so we shifted from sticky notes to bound books, and I bought a binder this year, and now I bind my own workbooks. Okay, so there's organization. Who else has a question? You guys can unmute. I don't bite hard.
Anybody else? Come on, you guys.
And it can be about anything.
Anybody? I know.
And you guys,
Haley's-
I have one.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm really big on setting goals now that I've joined Heather's team, and I'm now a goal-oriented person. I love it. But you said that you always have a goal right in front of you. So how detailed do you get those goals? Like, for example, you know that, I don't know, let's say you want so many distributors by the end of the month. Do you start off with by next week, I need 2? Or are you does that make sense?
Yeah. Hold on just a second. I'll show you how goal-oriented I am. And then you're really going to tell me how green I am. I don't know where my camera is on here. So in my planner at the very bottom, every week it says my steps to success bonus by the 28th. I need one distributor under here. I need 4 customers here, 1 distributor here. Like I know exactly where, how much like volume I need, what distributor I need to a T by what day I want it. And so I would tell you to break it down because you can't eat an elephant in one bite. You've got to eat it in chunks. And so how is it best to be broken down? And then I have a vision board behind me. I have a vision board on that desk. And then behind, like I literally have goals everywhere. So I have this board. It says I am earning my success bonus by March 31st times 3. And so literally my goals are all around me. And every morning we journal about them and how much we need left.
I love it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, so good. I feel like, oh, Gina, yes, I want you to go.
I have a quick question. Sure. I love how you said you have a mindset Zoom every morning. I would love to know if you're open to it, to sharing what you do in that and how long usually is it?
So it is open corporate wide. It is 30 minutes. And so every morning right now we're doing the 100 days of brave. So we listen to the 100 days of brave, whatever journal prompt is there. We do gratitude, affirmations, manifestations, and then we do coffee chat.
Awesome. I love it. Cool. Thank you.
I do love that.
You can see,
It's kind of like our Soul Sister Sunday, Gina, I think.
yeah, you can see some of our ugly mugs on her Instagram and Facebook stories in the mornings too, because she always posts an ugly Facebook or Instagram post of all of us on her morning mindset with our coffee
I love it.
mug. It's great.
I love it.
Now, Mandi, what do you have for somebody that thinks they don't have the leadership skills to lead a team?
So that was me. I didn't think that I had what it took to lead a team. And so I tried to be every other leader. And I'm going to tell you right now that every single one of you can lead a team. But I'll tell you, start now, because trying to gain leadership while you let somebody else lead your team is really, really hard. And so what do you like from certain leaders? What don't you like from certain leaders? And what kind of leader do you want to be? Because I'll tell you that I've looked at multiple leaders, not just my uplines. I've gotten on many other uplines calls. I'll get on as many power hours as I can, and I'll interact with as many leaders as I can and find out what do I like about their leadership and what don't I like. And you can pick pieces of any type of leadership, any type of organization, any type of power hours, and find out what do you like and don't you like. And the best way is to show up on Sunday Fun Day, to show up on corporate calls, to show up on enroll-a-thons, anywhere that you're invited to get on a call, get on and find out what do you and don't you like. And I'll tell you, I grew the most as a leader by taking things that I didn't like and that didn't make me feel good and say, I don't want to be that kind of leader. So how can I show up differently? Not that they're a bad leader, because everybody leads differently and everybody has a different personality, but that's not what I liked. And so then I'm going to go attract all of the Mandys that are out there who are yellow, blue, and can't really handle a red, green leader. And so that's how you're going to set yourself apart from a different leader. And you're going to attract a whole different tribe than that other leader would attract. But if you wait until you're in a position for leadership, getting your team to respect you is very hard. I've done that too.
I love that question. And, like she said, like be the leader you wish you had, and if you love your leader, then be that leader. I, for one, have had leaders that go MIA on me completely and they don't do the things. And I'm looking at this team over here going, gosh, I wish I was on that team. Well, why don't you create that team? Why don't you be that team? And I always think about Joel and Stephanie Dunn. They never had an upline, and I love their team camaraderie and what they do. They created that. Nobody did that for them. They created that. So we can always sit back and wish we're on this person's team or that person's team, but how about you create that yourself,
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what team you go to, you're always going to find things that you don't like.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because I've had my uplines quit and I've had to go find other uplines.
Mhm.
And guess what? I still found things I didn't like about the upline I adored.
Yeah. Good point.
And my team will tell you things they don't like about me. But that's the other thing, is you have to be open to hearing what people don't like, because the only way that you can grow is by knowing your own faults too.
Absolutely. So good. Mandy sent me her morning mindset Zoom information. I just want to make sure you're Wyoming. So is that mountain time?
Yes.
Okay. So I will post this with our team, and just know if you're in California, it'll be an hour earlier. And so just adjust, because this will be mountain time. So, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for you just welcoming us in, and then just pouring your heart out, being so open and honest. I think you might have inspired some girls on our team to be open about sharing their stories as well. And I think that's who, our past is what, makes us who we are. And then we get to share that. And then we get to share that you're not stuck in your past though,
No.
Yeah.
And like, that's something I'll tell you. It took me a really long time I was so afraid of judgment. So I was going through a custody battle when I joined, and I was so afraid to share that, because what would somebody think? Because I'm supposed to be this cookie cutter leader. I'm supposed to be this person that inspires everybody. Well, your mess can become your message. And when I finally heard that, I was like, oh, so this hot mess train that I'm running, that might inspire other people. Because let me just tell you, I am Captain Struggle Bus. Okay. Like, it might look pretty from the outside looking in, but when you watch my stories and you watch my reels and you watch my live videos, it is a hot mess, but I still get it done. Like, I made a post right before this that I was like, getting ready for Zoom calls used to look like curling my hair and putting on the perfect makeup, but you guys didn't come for a makeup tutorial. You came to figure out how I got the certificates on the wall and still lived a mess.
So good. And that is so true. So true. All right, you guys. So if anybody has another question, go ahead and unmute and ask. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and end this. I did record this too, so I will get the recording to you, Mandy, and we'll get that posted in our team page, because I'm sure a lot of you are on here going, oh my gosh, my girl, my downline, whoever she is, needs to hear this. So I want you guys to share this with others for sure. And I want to collab with you some more. So I would love to do some more things together as our team. And we will be hopping on some of your mindset Zooms. And I'll share with you guys, we have Power Hour as well. And I'll share that info with you guys too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then I do print and bind workbooks. And so if that's something that your team wants access to, then I am going to put out a link for our 90-day push ones.
Okay. Yes, I love it. Jessica Reese is over here going, yeah, give it to me. Give it to me. All of us are like, yes. So they know that their leader's not as green.
I'll
that's
share.
something I'm working on. So, all right, you guys. Well, Mandy, thank you so much. And I just can't wait to do more Zooms with you and collab. And I just love your story. And we're super grateful for you taking the time for all of us tonight. So
you're welcome.
Thank you so
and
much,
you guys
girl.
can follow me on Facebook. Just don't friend me, because I won't friend you back. I'll send you a polite little message that says I don't friend other distributors. And it is Amanda Answer on Facebook, just so you guys know.
Perfect. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.